had a low gear ratio, it was like a 3.15 something. And if you kind of understand the difference between ratios, like the lower the number, the more speed you'll have, but you'll have no towing capacity.
Oh,
no pull power.
Yeah, no pull power, because it all depends on the axle. The engine is irrelevant at that point.
Yeah.
Because really it boils down to how many times it can fucking pull something up a hill. Or how many rotations it could do before. You know, it's hard to...
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Anyways, I said, look, I see that they have the 3.77 here. And he goes, so what are you trying to tow? And I said, well, I have property up in the mountains. I said, I do plan to pull a trailer behind me, and I'd like something that's going to handle it. And he's like, well, how much are you planning on towing? I said, well, I don't know. It could be anywhere from, I don't know, 3,000 to 5,000 pounds, give or take. And he goes, well, this truck, he pushes the one that had the 3.15 aside. I was like, and shows me two other vehicles. And both of them were like 50,000, and the other one was like 80,000. I'm like, okay. So I'm actually trying to keep this under a certain amount too. I was like, he's like, well, how much are you trying to keep it? I said, well, I'm trying to keep it around 40,000. And he goes, well, do you need to finance? I said, well, no, I actually went to my bank, and I've been going back and forth with them on financing, which I haven't. Just so you know, I actually have the money to buy the vehicle outright. I just don't want to spend $70,000 on a fucking vehicle. I don't think that's worth it.
Yep.
I said, my point is I'm basically just trying to find these particular anemones. I don't want anything else on top of it, just this. And I was like, this is what I want. Like, if I can't find it here, I'll look somewhere else. And then he was talking to me, and he was like, okay, well, let me take a look and see if they got anything else. Each vehicle he kept pulling up was like either higher or lower, and I was like, I don't think he's actually looking about the range of the price. I think he's more focused on trying to upsell me all these other shit, because he kept insisting that I go for a drive. And I'm like, look, man, I don't need to go for a drive. It's a truck. It's meant to be beat up. That's just what trucks are. If you don't use them for a truck, then you just buy a car. And I was like,
damn, I like this guy. He's pretty cool.
I was like, it's a truck. It's meant to be beat up. I'm like, I'm sorry.
You have the same mentality like the new Jeeps that they got out, the Gladiators. I was like, if I want a truck, I'll buy me a truck. I don't want to buy a Jeep that looks like a truck. Sorry. Give me my old Wranglers, 2-door, 4-doors. I like my 4-door. I want a Jeep.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I don't need a Cadillac of trucks. Yeah. I was looking for something big.
Well, did you ever find what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, if you didn't, I got an F-150, older model, that's got the 8.8 in it. Mm-hmm. And I was going to use it. I was going to rip the axles out of it and throw it into an older Jeep of mine for a crawler. But I didn't know. I mean, shit, I would have sold that to you $1,500 just to screw that.
Well, I have a Dodge Dakota right now, and that's got.
Oh yeah.
But it's got a lot. It's not going to come up with a lot of problems. Yeah. So, anyways, like. While I'm talking to those people, I'm like, I can't buy, you know, I'm not trying to buy a truck that is like a Cadillac truck. Like, I don't need any that. Installed. I don't need monitors on every one of these seats. And I was like,
HP is 2 windows down at 80 mile an hour. Stop, guys.
Right. So I was like, I'm sorry. I might feel like I'm kind of being difficult because I kind of feel like I came in here half-cocked because I just had this idea that I wanted these particular things and nothing else. And I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for, but I'm not really wanting any of this extra stuff. So if I can't find it here, I'm just gonna, check Chevy and maybe that'll be my luck, or if not, I'll just look for something that's used. But I go, that just depends. I prefer brand new because I don't want a vehicle that somebody else has owned because I don't know what they've done to it. Like, at least the vehicle is mine. I want to keep that vehicle for as long as possible. So the guy's like, well, you know, these are getting better and blah 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 blah. I was like, well, what's wrong with turbo? Why you use turbo? So I explained the same thing. Yeah, they get hot. And I was like, that's more money that I'd be shelling out in the long run. And I said, look, I had an old S10 that had 400,000 miles on it. Can you tell me that those EcoBoost engines will last 400,000 miles? He says, well, the engines are getting better. I was like, but in what way though? Like, he's like, well, I can't guarantee that it would last 400,000 miles. He goes, but for free, he says they have like, they can last up to 300,000 miles. I'm like, shit, my truck's at 300,000 miles now, and it's just a V8. I was like, yeah, it has problems. I'm not going to deny that, but I was like, I just wanted to get something new.
Sorry for
because,
leaving you behind earlier.
well, I want to keep it for a long
Dr.
time without having
really
to worry
trying
about it.
to,
And he goes, well, I
in
get
any
your
case,
point. I said, look,
I think it would be best if
I'm
we
gonna
left
check a
Eugene.
couple more
We
places.
should investigate. We need
I
to
plan
find
to
out.
head up to Sherry,
Mina,
and I wanted to kind of
Ash,
see what they
do you
had.
copy?
He's like,
This
well,
is
let me get
Medical
your
Corps Captain
information, and
Eugene.
maybe we can find something or
Vince,
work out a deal,
Ribbon,
blah, 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 blah. I
Jenny,
was like,
all members of the
alright,
Medical
let's see.
Corps, please
I
respond.
gave my information
Eugene,
back to
we're
Carl.
going to begin our investigation
He's
of
like,
the
I'll let
order's
my guy
base.
up there know
Make sure you
that you're
find that
heading up
unit.
there. And I was like, God damn it. They're probably going to upsell me too. I'm like, alright, never mind.
Everybody's gonna try.
So, I was going to head up there. But I honestly thought I was driving. Just so happened to look at the sign. I don't really want a Nissan, but I had a Nissan before. It wasn't a bad truck. I liked it.
This is more than enough.
Yeah, sure, more than ran. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it, just
Disengage.
huh? Yeah,
Disengage.
I was not planning on stopping so I decided to like pull off and like fix it and I went in, and the guy just happened to be standing there. He's
Be
like,
careful!
hey, can I
Look, it's reinforcements coming your way.
yeah, I'm just looking for a
Are you okay? Thank goodness.
trailer and stuff off the mountain and so on and so forth. I'm not looking for a turboed vehicle or something extravagant, but the things that do matter to me is this and this. And he goes, well, if you want to sit down and let me write this down so I know exactly what it is and I can help look a little bit better since we're just standing here and talking. I could only just spout things off, but it's not going to do us any good. I said, yeah, that's fine. So we went and sat down, and he's like, what are you looking to spend on the vehicle? I said, well, out the door, no more than 40,000. I'm trying to keep it under that because I have a deal worked out with my bank that I prefer to keep it around that amount if possible. And he goes, I have a perfect truck.
What?
I was like, let's hear it.
Yeah.
And he goes, this one is a Nissan Frontier. He says it's just a king cab. He's like, does the amount of doors on the vehicle matter? And I was like, well, not really. I mean, I would like to have a little space behind my seat so I can toss stuff back there if need be, like my tools or whatever. And he goes, well, we have a king cab. It has 4-wheel drive. The horsepower is like 320, and it's a V6. And I was like, well, hang on a second. What's the axle ratio? And he's like, it doesn't say on the sheet. Hang on a second. So he pulls up his VIN. He's looking at me. He says, it's a 3.66. And I was like, what?
Ooh,
I was like, oh, okay.
that's nice.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah,
what did he
I
say?
was
What
like-
did he say?
He said it was a
3.66.
What?
And I was
That's got some power there.
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of. Oomph.
So okay, so what's the price?
He says, I was like, yeah, and I asked the same thing. I was like, what's the price? And he says, he says, it says here, it's 36,000.
Huh.
Oh shit.
I don't
Let's
was
go.
like-
understand why it's human DNA.
And then
Do it.
I'd have said, well, is that the bottom dollar you guys take, straight cash?
Yes, that's another thing.
Oh, right on.
He said that's 36 out the door. I was like, oh. Well, let's go take a look at it. He says, well, we have it here on the lot, actually. I was like, okay. He says, I don't know where it's at. I'll grab it, pull it around so you can look at it. I was like, let's just walk over there. I need the exercise anyways. He laughs and he goes, yeah, I could sure use some exercise too. Why not? So we walked over there, and there's a line of Nissan Frontiers, and I saw one in particular. That had like DJ's logo blue. Your logo, it was that blue. And I was like, I had an S10 that looked exactly like this color. I had it decked out, but the vehicle was totaled by the company that was working on it. They were changing, they were replacing my ignition coils. They were replacing my ignition coils and changing shocks and something. I was getting ready to go on a road trip with my dad, but I get a call back from them saying that my car was totaled. And according to the police report, the guy says he was at the stoplight when some lady in a VW Bug didn't stop, and she just slammed right in the back of my truck, bent the frame in half, and pushed my truck into some other vehicle, basically just sandwiching my
Damn.
So that's what happened to that. Anyways, I happened to see one that was blue, and it was only like 38,000. I'm like, I might consider that. But when we were talking about the Frontiers, he goes, I'm gonna be straight with you. All these vehicles are the same exact motor. There's no difference. He goes, the axle ratio might depend on the vehicle, but the one you're looking at is 0.6 axle ratio. All right, well let's go take a look at it. And it was a black Nissan Frontier. It had a long. He's like, oh yeah, the tailgate actually does this. He's like, you gotta see this. This is the first time I've ever seen this on any truck. He opens it and like lets it go, and it doesn't slam, but it kind of like catches itself as it's falling, so it's like a slow fall.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was like, well, that's kind of neat. I was like, there's been times where I just slammed that fucker down on my truck.
Absolutely.
He goes, this one unfortunately does not have the thing is you can extra, I don't know, yeah, it's just a basic vehicle, and he opens the doors and like the suicide door for the rear. It was a key, so it had the opening for the rear doors. They kind of open like
Power grid is cut
suicide
off,
door.
but
They
it's
open
still
back.
working. Did I
Yep.
choose the
And I
wrong
was
facility?
Like mine on my truck.
Based on the
Yeah, it was-
blueprints,
It was
there's a
nice, and I was like,
backup power source
you know,
underground.
honestly, this is exactly
Focus
what I've
must
been
have
looking
activated their
for
backup
with this
source.
particular truck. I was like, it could have 4 doors. I'd be fine with 4 doors, but honestly, was the gear ratio and
Oh, absolutely. Shit, yeah.
yeah, and the kind of power that it had tonight. So I was like, a lot better than I was. 4-wheel drive. It is everything I was looking for.
And it's enough of an overkill because you're not going to use it for like extreme heavy stuff, but it's
No.
enough of an overkill that you're not going to create a lot of wear and tear on a vehicle that is going to give you the opportunity to make it last a lot longer.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So So that was, man, I perked up so much.